In 1983, Jane Winter was found in a dumpster, wrapped in a dirty towel and cold to the touch. A group of strangers pulled her out and called police. Now she says she doesn't want to find her biological family who left her there. She wants to find the people who saved her.
This is my first picture that I'm aware of. This came home with me from the adoption agency.
Days after she was found in an Atlanta dumpster, someone snapped this picture of baby Jan Winter. The hospital staff named her that because she was born in January in the middle of winter. That's all they knew.
There is a part of my life that I am completely missing.
She became Crystal in foster care and then Amanda when she was adopted. Amanda Jones is the only name that feels like home, and she never really wanted to know more than that, or even to find her biological mother.
I really just wanted to tell her that I forgave her. And people make bad decisions when they're under pressure, and I didn't want her to live her entire life with having this on her heart.
Amanda has a good life with a beautiful family and loving parents. That was all she needed, until she saw baby India rescued from a plastic bag earlier this year.
I immediately felt connected to that baby. We shared the same story. She was abandoned.
Amanda watched the way the family who found baby India cared for her, how the officers who saved her spoke to her. And she wondered, is that what her birth looked like?
I can't imagine being the person that found a baby wherever they found me, wondering all those years what happened to that baby.
She wants to find the people who saved her to tell them how thankful she is that they cared.
Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity at life and helping me to find a place where I fit in.
Well, she was found in a dumpster. Her life started when she was pulled out.
That's where my life began, really.
She was found at 5600 Roswell Road, the old Prado business complex. She's looking for the people who helped her, the Fulton County detective who was on the case, or even the people who saw on the news and might have more information about what happened. She set up a tip line if you know anything. We have more for you about that story on 11alive.com.
My goodness, that is a very moving story.
Yes, it is. Kaitlyn, thank you.
Baby Jan wanted to know if someone took care of her when she was found, if they cared about her. She never had even been to the place where she was found. She was afraid it would make her feel more alone. But when I met her there today, she said all of that is different now.
It was an emotional ride here. When I was coming off the exit, my heart kind of stopped a bit.
The dumpster where baby Jan Winter was found isn't at 56 Roswell Road anymore.
This is where it all started.
The place she was found looks different, but her life looks different now too since she's come forward.
I am finding out a story. With every little person that I'm finding, I'm able to compile my beginning, and it's such a great feeling to finally have that after 36 years.
Baby Jan, now Amanda Jones, was able to talk to the detective who handled her case. Detective Joyce Vaughn is retired now and lives in Texas, but told Amanda on the phone she never forgot her.
I woke up after I spoke to Joyce, and I felt like I had a new heart. I felt like I had just a weight lifted off my chest.
On Facebook, an 11 Alive viewer who saw the first story on baby Jan was able to track down the two paramedics who transported her to Northside Hospital. One of them remembers holding her to his chest as he picked her up off the ground.
Reading that they held me and warmed me makes me feel really good that I was held.
She still hasn't found the woman who actually pulled her out of the dumpster, but she hopes she's getting close.
You know, the people that found me that night, had they not found me, my children wouldn't be here today. My husband wouldn't have a wife. My parents wouldn't have had a second child. So it is just such a blessing to all of us. So many people have been blessed by that one night.
Through all of this, Amanda found her birth parents too. They don't want a relationship with her right now, but she says that's okay.
I really would love to offer forgiveness to the people that did this to me.
There are a lot of records they still have to go through with this case, and they're pulling them by hand. The records were never digitized after 1983. We have a lot of those records up on our website, 11alive.com, if you want to take a look at what they have and help solve this mystery. Jeff?
The bravest acts of heroism are often done in silence without an audience or applause, just because it is the right thing to do. Stefan Rinovic was that kind of hero.
He was a Polish diplomat during World War II, and he secretly forged passports for Jewish citizens to save them from the Holocaust.
Kaitlyn Ross is here, and Kaitlyn, he saved so many lives. But he died never telling a single soul about anything he had done.
Nobody had a clue about this. I spoke to his granddaughter, Alexandra, who told me her grandfather was quiet and proud. She never knew much about his life before he moved his family to Argentina because he never talked about it. But what she just found out is incredible.
I couldn't believe what I read.
When Alexandra Ryder first got the email,
And I was really shocked.
she thought it was a scam.
If anything looks suspect, delete it. Don't respond, don't open anything, but it had my grandfather's name in the subject line. So I felt compelled to read it.
It was from the first secretary to the Polish embassy, who explained her grandfather's role in an elaborate scheme during World War II.
Had he been caught, I would not be sitting here with you today. And that's the beauty of it. Just the sheer awesomeness of it all is that he risked everything to save people.
Her grandfather was a Polish diplomat who started forging Paraguayan passports for Jewish people at the outbreak of the war. The fake documents would help Jewish families fool the Nazis into thinking they were from a different country.
So I wish I could have a conversation with him. I really do, because I have so many questions that I would love to know the answers to.
Her grandfather never breathed a word of what he did to anyone and moved his family to Argentina after the war. He passed away years ago, and no one ever knew his role in saving thousands of lives.
There are just no words to describe seeing these photographs and these documents and understanding the magnitude of what he did.
But it didn't end there. When the local newspaper ran an article about her grandfather, she got another email the very next day.
My grandfather got the passport, and he thought, well, we're good now.
From a woman whose grandfather, her grandfather, saved.
So imagine the shock, imagine the surprise to find out, wow, there's a survivor, there's an ancestor of a survivor, of a passport survivor.
Heidi Fishman's grandfather was being sent to Auschwitz when he pulled out the fake document.
At the last minute, he literally in front of the train, he showed a German official that he had a passport from Paraguay. Of course, he wasn't really from Paraguay. This was a falsified passport. Showed it to the official, and he was allowed off the transport and was not sent to Auschwitz. So that passport really saved his life.
6 million men, women, and children were killed in the Holocaust. While they're still counting, the Polish government estimates 8,000 lives were saved because of these fake passports.
When bad things happen in the world and we hear about it, we have to do something. Alexandra's grandfather did something. He got himself involved and he helped people.
Everyone can make a difference, and everyone can be a hero. Even an ordinary, everyday person can do something extraordinary for someone else.
Heidi and Alexandra talk almost every day now, sharing in the courage and bravery that saved both of their families.
It's kind of an adventure, because now I get to go back in history and find out what more my grandfather did, along with these other men, that was so brave to save these people that really needed a ray of sunshine. They needed some hope.
After we talked to Alexandra, she was invited to Poland to receive an award of bravery on behalf of her grandfather. The Polish president thanked her personally for everything her family did to save lives during the Holocaust, without ever breathing a word of it to anyone else.
It is worth repeating, 8,000 people saved by this one man's decision. This is a story they'll share for many generations to come.
Veterans facing a very tough road when they return home, and sometimes haunted by what they experience. Today, veterans in 200 cities worldwide turn to yoga to help their fellow soldiers battle PTSD.
When I'm there in that moment, I'm there in that moment. I'm moving from point A to point B, or moving weight from here to there, or hitting a pose and trying to get myself out of my own headspace. I was in the Army from 2010 to 2015. I was EOD tech, which is explosive ordnance disposal. Essentially, any ground ordnance or IEDs is what our job is to take care of those. When you're in the military, you have essentially everything that you ever need. You have structure, you have a paycheck, you have community. In this day and age, we're a volunteer military. Folks sign up to go into the military because they want to serve our country. And once their time is over, I think it is, I don't know, it's hard to answer that question. I think you go for this like euphoric state of like, I'm out, I'm free, I'm my own person, I can do whatever I want. And I remember specifically a day, it was a weekday, and I was just slamming beers on the couch and playing video games. And my wife came out, and it's like 2 a.m. and I have to be at work the next day, you know, normal work hours. She's like, what are you doing? She's like, if you want to be married and have a happy marriage and a productive life for the rest of life, you need to figure your stuff out. And I said, okay. And she said, by the way, you're getting fat, get your ass to the gym. And I said, all right, fair. Put me in my place pretty quickly, right? You know, our mission statement is to connect veterans to the community through physical and social activity. But when you take all the brass tacks and science away, it's really about building genuine relationships with the folks where you're at.
When I was still wearing a uniform, I never would have been caught dead doing yoga, and no one that I know would have. And in the last decade, it's gone from being kind of taboo or made fun at to being very embraced by the veteran and military culture. And I think people do it ultimately because it works. To the general public, PTSD, some people think about it as this like life sentence of that's something that's untreatable, and it's actually very treatable, but it takes work to do that. And yoga is a really important part of that process.
Rise all the way up, flying warrior, lengthen everything.
You can change your mind in as little as 5 deep breaths. So it's the quickest, most profound, most efficient way to create a more calming state.
It's pretty astonishing when you get done. The things that you thought about before don't seem to really matter after you're done working out. Like you kind of lose the stresses of life.
People are loving this program. On my Facebook page, Kathy says, that's so wonderful. And then Anthony, who is a veteran, makes a really great point here. He says, different people need different things. It's something that has helped me. 11 Alive is where Atlanta speaks, and we want to hear from you. So we've posted this on our Facebook page and our Twitter. Weigh in and let us know what you think. Cheryl, Jeff, you should see the welcoming crew here. They've got these boards where they're taking selfies. They got their pom-poms, they're waving them, welcome people to the city. But not everybody is feeling the excitement over the Super Bowl.
Would you like a selfie, ma'am?
The Super Bowl volunteers are working hard at the airport.
Would you like a selfie, sir, for the Super Bowl week?
They want everyone flying in to be as hyped up as they are.
Football is my life.
Volunteer Peggy Vanover thinks they should all be this excited.
It's a national holiday for me.
It turns out not everyone wants to celebrate. A new poll shows 44% of Americans don't care who wins or loses the game Sunday. So we had to put that poll to the test with a very scientific poll of our own called Woo or Boo. Woo or Boo? Come vote in my poll. A double woo. A double woo. I love it. Vote in my poll. Super Bowl, woo or boo? I think that's a boo. Looks about even right now. Are you excited about the Super Bowl? Yes. Yes. Woo-hoo. 2 woos. Woo or boo? Do you care about the Super Bowl or no? Yeah, that was so non-committal. Uh-oh. The boos are creeping up there. Woo or boo? Do you care about the Super Bowl or not? No, I don't. No? Saints fans. 2 Saints boos. Fans. Oh, you really don't care. I'm gonna light this on fire. Woo it up. Woohoo! Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't interpret the results, but the poll itself is getting famous.
Okay, you hold the,
Oh, the woo and boo? Yeah. The volunteers think people who booed were just playing it cool.
I'm not sure I believe that. I guess because I care about the Super Bowl.
They think just having the game in Atlanta is enough to get fired up about.
Just really excited about Super Bowl. Woo!
So you... Woo! So we want to know, do you woo or do you boo? I have my tally that I'm keeping track of right here, and we're going to add all of the online votes. So Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, hop on there. Let me know what you think. I'm going to mark your answer down, and we'll have the answer officially, woo or boo, at the end of the day. Jeff and Cheryl?
She was diagnosed on her first birthday, May 16th. She has stage 4 alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma in both legs.
For the past 6 months, Haley Allen has taken her daughter to every doctor she can find to treat her rare and aggressive cancer.
When she was diagnosed, she only had a 20% chance to live, and that's with the necessary treatment.
The necessary treatment is a drug called vincristine. It's used to manage many childhood cancers. The patent on the drug has expired, and only 2 companies were making it, Teva and Pfizer. Teva won't say why it stopped production.
And the fact that one pharmaceutical company decided to stop making it as a business decision, leaving it all on another, and they're unable to keep up with demand is absurd.
Pfizer says it's tripled its production, trying to keep up with demand. But patients here in Atlanta are already missing doses. 14-year-old Ethan is battling blood cancer and went to his appointment at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta yesterday to get the vincristine. His family says he was turned away because they didn't have enough.
It's terrible for them to say that some kids are more important than others.
Children's told 11 Alive treating its patients is its top priority. The Children's Oncology Group, an organization that makes the pediatric cancer guidelines, released a letter about the shortage late this afternoon, saying they're trying to figure out what's going on.
I don't like that pharmaceutical companies are gambling with my daughter's life before she can ever even have a conversation with us. She's having to fight for her life, and it's as hard as it could possibly be already.
We are working on galaxies.
Ethan Daniels has enough to worry about in the 8th grade.
Regular galaxies.
He shouldn't have to worry about whether or not he's going to survive.
I'm actually scared. I'm scared for me. I'm scared for my friends. I'm scared for every kid that's fighting cancer.
He was at the cancer center in the chair on Tuesday when his oncologist told him they didn't have enough.
There are no options. Vincristine does not have a compatible replacement drug. There is no option to replace it or to substitute it in cases of crisis like this.
His mom, Kelly, has spent every minute since trying to figure out what they're supposed to do.
It makes me angry. It makes me terrified. And it just makes me sick that something that has proven to work and is saving lives every day is no longer readily available.
This shouldn't be happening. This drug is so important. It's life-saving. It saves lives. It's, as my mom said, it's like the backbone of all chemos and all of treatment, and then all of a sudden it just goes to a stop. I'm just scared.
The Daniels are working with the Rally Foundation for Childhood Cancer Research to call the FDA, call their Congress members, anyone who will listen to them and come up with a solution.
These kids have enough on them having to fight cancer. They need their medicine. And as Americans, we should have the medicine for them.
Other countries in Europe have a surplus of vincristine, but the federal government and the FDA would have to make an exception to bring the medicine here to the U.S. In a letter released today, the only company still making the drug, Pfizer, says they'll ship more of it in late October. But no one can tell the Daniels or any other family fighting cancer when it will be short again, or what missing these doses now means for their children.
We need to do better.
Yeah, we need to do better.
Ethan Daniels told me he was scared 2 weeks ago when we went to get his chemo treatment and he was told there was not enough to go around. After he was turned down, he was really worried about his treatment plans and for all of his friends across the U.S. who are fighting cancer. I'm so happy to report today he got his treatment.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I am not able to go through this journey by myself.
Ethan Daniels is grateful for all of the support from people across the country who were horrified he and kids like him couldn't get their treatment.
It just helped reading the comments, seeing the concerns, seeing the outrage that others, even those that didn't even know Ethan, were just as outraged as we were. It held us up.
More than 100,000 people signed a petition to the White House asking the government to intervene after pharmaceutical company Teva stopped making vincristine as a business decision, and Pfizer said they hit a production snag. They were the only 2 companies in the country making the drug. That is the only option for children fighting certain types of cancer. Legally, the government can't force a company to produce a drug. While Pfizer has been able to backfill the shortage in most hospitals, there are still some kids who are not getting the medicine yet.
It is so frustrating
that not all kids are getting these makeup doses, and that even last week some kids were still getting half doses. I'm hoping this is now the turning point.
In a letter, Pfizer says all children will get all of the medicine they need by January. But Kelly says this isn't the end of the story.
Now we have the big questions. Why did it happen in the first place? How did this happen? And what are we going to do to make sure it never happens again?
Haley Holder doesn't care much about survival percentages or treatment dosages. What she does care about? Baby shark. And cupcakes. Lots of cupcakes.
I mean, she's one cool baby, what can I say?
This was a celebration. The 19-month-old just finished 6 weeks of radiation to help her beat cancer. Doctors flooded her body with a lifetime dose.
She's done so well. She's really thrived. And we could not be happier.
Ringing the bell felt so good for the Holder family, they did it twice. 6 weeks ago, they never thought they'd get the chance.
I had no idea. I thought that I would still be fighting for her chemo.
They were distraught when the nationwide shortage of vincristine hit. Haley only has a 20% chance of survival with the cancer drug. Without it, her mom doesn't want to imagine.
People moved mountains to get the vincristine to our kids. She was able to get the chemo she desperately needed. She was able to stay on track.
They met with her oncologist this week, who talked to Haley's parents about her future.
She won't be able to run, but she'll be able to walk, and you know, she may never be an Olympian, but she can be a doctor.
This holiday, they'll celebrate those hopes and dreams together.
We're really excited to be back and to get to spend her first real big holiday with all the people we love.
For 27 years, Chris Campbell's smile was the first thing customers saw when they walked in the restaurant.
He was a joy in my life. He was the joy in my life, and he made my life something special.
He didn't just bring his mom Barbara joy. He lit up every room he walked into. 27 years ago, it was the lobby of McDonald's asking for his first job.
They gave him a helping hand that he needed, and then he gave them love, genuine love.
His first job was the only job he would ever have. He loved being a lobby greeter at the Norcross McDonald's and took pride in the job he did every day. His mom told me he would take the handicap sticker off their car when they pulled up to work. He didn't want his coworkers to think he was any different than they were.
He was bigger than life. He was loved by not only the employees, but he was loved by the customers.
When Kelly Vanderveer bought the restaurant and found out how long Chris had been there, she wanted to honor him. When people asked her why she would have a celebration for his 27th work anniversary and not his 30th, she said, why not?
Chris was here for 27 years, and that's a huge impact.
Turns out the timing was just right. Just a month after that celebration, Chris died suddenly.
I was so proud of him for all he did, and he will live in my heart forever.
Chris's mom said his first job was the doorway to a new life for Chris. The self-confidence he got working there led him to join the Boy Scouts and become a volunteer at his church. He developed his own personal motto, I can do this. And he did.
And I miss him very much. But I will see him again someday.
When nothing feels settled or safe, a father's voice is a constant comfort, even a lifeline.
You have won it all for me.
I can hear these sounds playing like here and even in my sleep, you know? But I know a sound that's louder than all those words, and that to me has been worship.
I've won the victory.
I've found my strength and weakness, and I've found light in darkness, and I have found joy in sadness.
By his nail-pierced hands.
I was hurt, I was confused, I was in shock. I just remember shaking and just saying, God, this can't be the end.
We are healed
Abel was born at just 1 pound 6 ounces. He had to be delivered months early because his mom had life-threatening preeclampsia. At just 2 years old, the doctors have found 31 severe medical issues.
It's not 31 diagnoses, it's 31 miracles that we get to see.
With each new diagnosis, new setback, every time they go back to the hospital, Britzi and Alfredo Briones pray, and he sings.
It's just a joy that fills your heart, and I know that it speaks to Abel.
When Abel's heart stopped, Alfredo started singing.
You have won it all for me.
Alfredo sang, and 7 minutes later, Abel's heart started beating. It was his dad's voice that brought him back, his lifeline.
I see joy, and I see hope, and I see a glimpse of God. I do.
You are the risen King.
His dad said something that really stuck with me. It can be so hard to be stuck in the hospital, scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, and feeling like life is passing you by. Abel's parents told me he's really struggling today, but feeling like that in the hospital and having all of your kind words and encouragement really means the world to this family.
All right, Kaitlyn, a very moving story. Thank you.